Several years ago, I would play Squad 44, what was then called Postscriptum of course. I would play and play and play, and eventually realize that something was missing. Why did I used to have so much more fun playing this game? And for the longest time, I just couldn't put my thumb on it. The game gets better and better after each major update. So why am I remembering amazing matches I've had in the past that for whatever reason, I cannot seem to recreate the same awesome experience of? And then it dawned on me. So many things have been added to Squad 44 that certainly make the game better. And the only thing really good that has ever really been taken away was the game's OG first and only game mode. There was actually only one game mode for the first year or so. A game mode that demands more teamwork and communication than the now very popular and only game mode really, Offensive. This game mode, of course, is still very popular in Squad 44's mother game, Squad. That is the one thing responsible for the amazing memories I had early on in Squad 44's development. This one little thing that was missing from the game and keeping me from reliving the best experiences I've had in all of gaming was Squad 44's Advance and Secure. How did it take me so long to realize? For people that didn't play Squad 44 in its first couple years, really missed out on something special. There was actually a lot of debate on whether Advance and Secure should stay in public servers rotation or only be used in competitive or unit versus unit play. The more casual majority would often gripe about the mode being, quote, too hard, or only clans or units are cohesive enough for Advance and Secure. And over time, as gamers often do, the already niche player base and dev team, over a couple of years, phased out the one thing that made the Squad 44 experience the closest thing to actual war I have ever seen in a video game. Years have gone by now, and besides the occasional One Life event, memories in that amazing, close to real life Mil-Simp experience I remember so fondly, just sadly, devastatingly, slowly but surely just slipped away. Almost like I had given up hope it would ever return. Well, Squad 44 is back, baby. I never deserted her, and I mean to do all in my power to return her, not just halfway, but all the way to her former glory. And in order to do that, one thing, and one thing alone must happen, and that is to get Advance and Secure back into the public servers rotations. So I have taken it upon myself, and the help from a viewer and pal, Mr. Aaron Allblacks. Starting now, by the time this video goes live, the Boogie 5 24/7 Advance and Secure server has been soft launched. Now, there is a lot to be discussed within the community, and maybe even some small changes made to the mode itself. That we will discuss in this video, in the comments of course, and many videos to come for that matter. This video here is only the beginning, a catalyst if you will, to eventually bring back this OG game mode that provided literally the best Squad 44 memories of mine that are now half a decade old. And to get there, we have to go back, way back, and into the grimiest corners of the interwebs, Reddit. First off, for those that don't know, Advance and Secure is very similar to Offensive. The only real difference is instead of one team attacking and the other defending, both teams must attack and defend at the same time, fighting for control of, in a tug-of-war fashion, the 5 capture points of the map. And the fact that it is a more visceral experience than Offensive, you don't have to take from me. Take it from the original modders turned developers themselves.
Often, this is more bloody and confusing than the straightforward attack or defense provided by the offensive mission. Teamwork, especially with the logistics section, is the grease needed to keep our war machine rolling.
So in summary, all those years ago, Reddit was a big place for the community to discuss the direction of the game. Now I'm going to spare you from going too deep into the bowels of Reddit, so we're just going to take a brief look at this one thread from almost 4 years ago. And it's titled Offensive vs. Advance and Secure. Is it me, or am I the only one sick of Offensive? Seems like that's all we play. It should be Offensive only in public games, and random Advance and Secure for clan games. 2 years I've been playing Offensive and slowly getting bored of it. That's why unit events are my go-to. I reply to this every time it gets asked. Yes, I'm sick of it, and it's killing the game as it limits replayability compared to Advanced and Secure. Problem is, the Advanced and Secure mechanics are broken at the moment, so no servers have had it in rotation for a while, meaning the community only knows how to play offensive. If a server tries to run Advanced and Secure, nobody joins. Ultimately, the decision to shit-can Advanced and Secure was one that had to be made, as the player base just wasn't big enough for what's ultimately a try-hard mode. Discussions on there got pretty crazy, as they tend to do on Reddit, but the main reason why the game mode died was simply because offensive got massively popular. And don't get me wrong, back then I tend to play offensive more, and even enjoyed it more, as the fighting was more centralized and there tend to be more action. However, as I said before, hands down, the best experiences I've had in the game were had within the Advanced and Secure game mode. I can remember games where the comms were so clogged I couldn't even hear myself think. Whereas in offensive, if you're a squad leader on defense, there's not much more for you to do as far as leading your squad other than placing a rally and maybe picking a cardinal direction to defend. On the contrary, in Advanced and Secure, everything happens organically. You must have a good commander and good communicative squad leaders. You must divvy out jobs to people. Squad 3, you stay back and defend while Squad 1 and 2 pushes. What happens in this game mode is there is no really defined front line, so more organic warlike scenarios happen. There were ambushes, convoys, a real need for scouting and recon. Troop movements and flanking maneuvers mattered more. And of course, my favorite, not only in old Squad 44, but the yesteryear of Squad itself, super fobs. Now, like I said before, there is so much to discuss that there's no way to just fit it all in one video, or several for that matter. So before we get into what the devs could do to make the game mode better, we have to discuss exactly what went wrong in the first place. And both of these actually are rather simple. Now, as you know, Squad 44 or Postscriptum served a very particular niche. There really is no other game that comes close to it. Of course, there's Hell Let Loose, but it's a far cry from, which means it has a very, albeit dedicated, small player base. And when Offensive was released, being that it was more casual friendly and made it a little easier for players to get to the action, Offensive quickly became the more popular mode. So it went from being all the time Advanced and Secure to very quickly about half and half. Within a couple years' time though, every server heavily favored Offensive. And I'm not saying it wasn't for good reason. The problem was though, you would jump on a server, play a game of Offensive, then maybe another, and another, and another, and then out of nowhere, Advanced and Secure would pop up in the rotation. Now, veteran players like myself would know shortly within the staging phase that I was playing a Advanced and Secure match now. But you would be surprised at how many people still thought they were playing Offensive. And by the time one squad leader in his squad, like myself, who loves to play aggressively, by the time we steamrolled the entire match, almost capping out within 15-20 minutes, then these more casual players would even realize they weren't even playing Offensive. It became a real problem where 9 out of 10 Advanced and Secure matches were ended within the first 10 or 15 minutes due to a steamroll. And with the small player count, it was in the game's best interest to just abandon the mode entirely. But here we are in 2024, the game is getting new life breathed into it with new players and a rebranding under the Squad halo. Many Squad players are coming to the game who are familiar with Advanced and Secure. So now is our chance to bring back this incredible mode. And if you ask me, the best and only way to do it would be to have completely separate servers for each mode. Now I know what you're thinking. Why split the already small player base into two different modes? And I personally don't see it that way. I think if we split the game modes into two different servers, players would actually know what they're playing then, and it would literally be casual mode and a more advanced mode. Veterans of the game and players from Squad could easily jump into an Advanced and Secure server and actually know what was going on. I don't think this would split the player base. I personally think it would expand it, almost like two different games entirely. A mode to play where you want a more simple experience, where the front line is defined, and the majority of the fighting is centralized. And then a mode where the front line is blurred. A competent commander and squad leaders is necessary, and the small logistics squad on each team are frickin' gods. If you are a Logi player and have yet to experience Advance and Secure in Squad 44, you, sir, are in for a treat. Okay, now finally, on to how the developers could make the mode more viable. Now, in the heyday of Advance and Secure, when people actually knew what they were playing and a standard meta was formed, there were two things that would happen in an Advance and Secure match that would make it simply not fun. The first, I mentioned before, steamrolling. All it would take is one bad squad leader that doesn't cooperate with the other squads, and your team would be pushed all the way back to the spawn, and the match would be over in no time. But like I said before, oftentimes this squad leader thought he was still playing offensive. Now, the other thing that would happen when the mode was actually played correctly, there was this very annoying meta that would always happen where 2 to 4 man little small squads would do nothing but hunt fobs. A lot of times, teams were completely locked out, only able to spawn all the way back at their main. The good thing is, both of these things, steamrolling and fob hunting, could easily be combated by the devs with minor tweaks. The first one being cooldowns for the capture points. This would prevent steamrolling because once you captured a point, it would take 5 minutes or so for the next capture point to unlock. Very similar to offensive, thus preventing the steamroll. In the fob hunting, I think with the new rally system, we've already got a head start. Maybe make it so you could make more than 2 fobs and have them be able to be built within 200 meters of each other instead of 300. If we, the Squad 44 community and dev team, can figure out how to combat these two annoying problems with the mode, I am confident you guys will experience some of the most awesome, visceral experiences you will ever have in all of gaming, just as I did in the first couple years of this game's existence. Anyway, of course I want to hear your thoughts, especially if you were around back in the day like I was. Maybe some of you have stories of awesome Advanced and Secure games. And if you've never played the game mode, let me know down in the comments as well. I'd love to get a general consensus. Again, thank you Mr. Aaron All Blacks for making this all possible. Now personally, I'm super busy this weekend, so like I said, this is a kind of soft launch, but very soon we will come up with a game night. Maybe I'll throw up a poll in the community section of the channel to maybe try and find the best day and time to really try and seed and pop this server. If you guys have yet to play this game mode, I am confident you are going to love it, but it is going to take time and work, but that's okay. I am personally prepared to do whatever. Alright boys, don't forget to comment. I will see y'all in the next one. Shout out to the channel members as usual, the Mil-Simp minions. Y'all be good to each other.